huge fight week. Your boy Francis Ngannou is fighting this Friday in Saudi against Anthony Joshua. So for those of you guys who don't know, Francis Ngannou trains with Eric Nixick at Extreme Couture. His main striking coach right now is Dewey Cooper. They're lining him up to fight Anthony Joshua, who's an Olympic boxer. I think he's an Olympic gold medalist. I can't remember for sure, but I know he fought in the Olympics. He's a very, very good boxer. We don't know that much about boxing per se, but Justin knows all things Francis, obviously, as Francis went to Extreme Couture after he left Paris. Justin, can we get some thoughts on this fight and this matchup? Again, with the caveat that we're not boxing guys.
Yeah, I really think that I'm giving the advantage to Ngannou, and I know I am biased towards him. He is my teammate. We both train in Extreme Couture, but man, he looks so good against Tyson Fury. And the thing is, when you look as good as he did against the best heavyweight boxer in the world, Francis is only getting better. Tyson Fury, is kind of towards the end. His skill gain is lackluster now, and it's not because he doesn't train hard. It's just he's been doing it for so long. The longer you've been doing it, it's harder and harder to build your skill set. When Francis has only been boxing for a couple of years, so he still has 5 more years of growth in this sport. Anthony Joshua, man, super tough boxer, but he's been known not to show up every time. He fought that Mexican boxer. I'm trying to think what his name is, and he got knocked out a couple of years ago from him. I can't remember what his name is.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
This was a fight that he was supposed to go in there and mollywop this guy, and he came up on the receiving end of that. So I'm giving the advantage to Francis Ngannou. I think his boxing is going to look good. He has something he wants to prove that he can box. And I'm really excited about this. This is a great opportunity. He's not fighting Tyson Fury. I think the size, he's going to have the clear size advantage. He's going to have the clear power advantage. And with him working on his boxing with, high-level boxers day in and day out, I haven't seen him one day at Extreme Couture while getting ready for this fight. That tells me he's at a legit boxing camp working on his craft. Francis Ngannou by knockout.
Okay, so what about this notion? I want to get your thoughts on this. So some people are saying, oh, well, Tyson Fury had no footage on Francis, so he came in without knowing anything. That's what gave Francis the edge, or part of what gave him the edge. Now there's a fight. Now there's something to watch. Do you think that is going to change the dynamics substantially and make it a lot more likely that Anthony Joshua is going to win? Or do you think because Francis is so early in his boxing training, he's going to probably evolve so much that it doesn't even matter?
You took the words right out of my mouth, dude. Remember, the guy we saw fight Tyson Fury isn't going to be the same guy that's fighting Anthony Joshua. This guy is, I have to reiterate this, and the viewers need to understand, this guy is getting better every single day. This isn't like, me, I'm at the end of my career. You watch, my last 5 fights. Okay, you can kind of get an idea of what I like to do, what I'm in the groove of doing, what habits I have. Francis doesn't have any habits. He's changing his style. He's changing his technique. He's getting better. My training gains are very small as I'm getting better small. He's taking leaps and bounds every fight, every training camp. Every time he goes to a new gym, he's learning a new technique and he's learning how to implement it with him. I don't think it matters. I think Francis Ngannou is too early in his career, just like you said. I really think that, he's going to be a different fighter than when he fought Tyson Fury. He's going to be a different fighter after he fights Anthony Joshua. Again, the sky's the limit for this man, and he's only getting better.
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of math here because if you guys don't know, math is my thing. That's why I teach. And, I have a tutoring business related to academics. So we're going to talk about, like, when you talk about this rate of growth, what it reminds me of is a logistic function, right? So like, not exponential, right? Because there's always going to be a cap in every player. So the logistic function models this type of growth where you have a spurt. This is often like what you use to model growth of bacteria or viruses like the pandemic. And then it eventually tops off, right? As you get to the carrying capacity, you get to the point where, hey, the entire population has been infected. Now the rate of infection is going to slow. Same with MMA and boxing and these types of skills, right? So what you're describing is Francis might be at this very early stage where now the rate of growth is going to start to look exponential. He's going to start making gains in very, very quickly compared to someone like Anthony Joshua already over here, right? So now we're having real marginal gains, still some gains, but very marginal. So just to put a picture to that concept of what you're describing, but this is really exciting. Plus, you have to take into account that Francis is jacked, dude. He's so big. He's got so much muscle. And I have to believe that that's just going to make him, I don't even know. I don't know if it's possible to even knock him out. Has he even ever been wobbled? I don't think he has.
No, he's never been hurt. He's never been knocked out. Now, we talk about the longevity of fighters. is, we talk about my age at 34 years old. Why am I more aged per se than a typical 34-year-old? Is just because I've taken all this damage on the head, for the last 13 to 20 years with wrestling, football. Francis hasn't taken this damage, so even if him and I are the same age, and I believe we are around the same age, he's still fresh. His brain is still fresh. You put his brain under an MRI and somebody that's been doing it like me for 20 years, our brains are going to look different. It just is what it is. He's essentially, I like to call it a barn find. He's a car that we found in a barn that runs good, that has low miles, man. It's going to run good for a long time, compared to a race car, I consider myself a race car where I'm on the track, putting in the miles, and I have been for a long time. So, you're absolutely right, dude. Francis hasn't been hurt in practice. He hasn't been hurt in fights. He's been hit with MMA gloves, he's been hit with boxing gloves. This guy is a mountain of a man, and it's going to take something really special to hurt him.
I cannot wait for this fight. And that last time when he fought Tyson Fury, I didn't buy the fight. And I felt I was so mad that I did, because I literally thought everybody was saying it was going to be game over, is ridiculous, this and that. And then he shocked the world. That was such a bummer. I'm definitely buying this fight. What a weekend of fights we have. Friday, Francis. Saturday, UFC 299.